Hello everyone and welcome back, or if you're new, just welcome here to my channel in general. This is Andy!
Hi!
Andy and I are in a long distance relationship. We met in April of 2016, started long distance in June of 2016. Last year, we did a Q&A video for our 1 year anniversary of being in a long distance relationship. We filmed that when I was visiting him in Korea. And now it's almost basically the 2-year relationship of us being long distance, and he's here in America for the first time when it's warm out, seeing Philadelphia when it's not gray and winter and dead. Yeah, so we're doing another Q&A, but this time it's not just about long distance advice, it's about just us in general and our relationship. So you guys asked your questions on YouTube and some on Instagram, but mainly YouTube. And we're gonna answer them now. Yay!
Yay!
That was louder than I was expecting you to be. So the number one thing that was asked by far were just generally questions about kids, us having children. So we're gonna bundle all of those together right now in the beginning of the video and then get to everything else. So do we plan on having kids in the future, Andy?
Yeah, of course. We have plans for babies.
Yes, we do want to have kids. And then Kirsten Corbett, I don't know if it's Corbett or Corbet, I should have asked, I'm sorry. But Kirsten, you ask me questions and we talk kind of often, so thanks for your question, but you said, how do your families feel about it? And I am assuming that's in reference to having kids. And I've always wanted to have kids. It was 2 weeks into us dating, and I asked if you wanted to have kids. Because if you would have said no, then I would not have kept dating you, I would have broken up with you.
My mom is very excited to have kids because our kids would be very cute.
Yeah.
And yeah, she wants to travel with our family and my sister's family and her, I don't know. Yeah, that's my mom's plan and goal.
Yeah. Was it the first time we met? I met your mom, she told you she's excited because our kids would be cute together.
Yeah.
The first time I met his mom. David O'Leary said, if you want kids, are you planning to raise them in the US or in Korea?
Of course in the US.
Yeah.
I don't believe... Should I say? Can I say
Go
that?
ahead, yeah, say what you want.
I don't believe the system, education system in Korea, actually. Frankly, yes.
We don't trust the education system in Korea as much as we do in America. And the American education system absolutely has its faults, but in general, school is much more, you have more freedom at school in America, freedom and opportunity than in Korea. Icy, it's I-S-Y, your picture is of a strawberry. You said, hi, love your videos, you guys are really cute. Have you ever talked about having kids? Yes. If so, how many?
I want 3.
You said at least 3 earlier.
Yeah, at least 3, yes. At least 3. Because 1 makes our kid lonely, 2 is not enough. Our family have 2 kids, me and my sister. So I think it's not enough. It's not very loud.
You want a loud family?
Yeah. Yeah, I want loud family and fun. So I think 3 is the best.
What genders?
At least 1 boy.
Yeah.
And I want at least 2 girls.
We both agree on having at least 1 boy. If I were to only be able to have 1 child, I would want it to be a girl. But if I am having more than 1 child, I want at least 1 to be a boy. And then I don't care about... preferably, if we were to have 2 kids, 1 boy and 1 girl is the ideal. Yeah. But after that, I don't care. Okay, what names? This is all still from Issy, I-C-I-S-Y. So for girl, and this has been decided for a year. Our number 1 choice for a name right now is Luna Rose. Rose is kind of a generational name in my family. My middle name is Rose. Obviously, it's part of my YouTube channel name. And I was named after my mom, Rose, and my mom was named after her aunt, Rose, and it just goes back. And then in America, her last name would be Lee, not E, like the Korean version. So her name would be Luna Rose Lee, which I think sounds so beautiful. Isn't that so cute? Luna Rose Lee. And for a boy...
I want Korean name actually. Uju.
Uju?
Yeah. I love that name.
What does it mean? Tell them what it means.
It's like the galaxy.
And then my favorite Korean male name, and it's not just Korean, I think it's generally East Asian, it appears in China and Japan and in Korea, but Chun June is my favorite male name. It's been my favorite male name since before I met Andy. I've loved the name June for so long. And then for an American pick, or like an English name, I really like Benjamin. But I like Benjamin because like Benjamin sounds so sophisticated and it's such like a classic name, but like you have the option of if he wants to be called Ben when he grows up, he can be called Ben. And also Min, which is a Korean name, is in Benjamin. So Benjamin is an American name or English name which comes with a Korean name in it. So like your mom could call him Min. So that was it for the questions regarding children and us having kids in the future. So now we're just gonna like segue into questions about our relationship and us that don't have to do with kids at all. So from Kirsten Corbett, I'm sorry, but from Kirsten again, what did you study in university for Andy?
My major was English language literature.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied about poetry and also poet. And yeah, novel, play, whatever.
Wasn't it like
English
part
language literature.
of your curriculum was to like direct a play?
Yes. So yeah, I was studying about Shakespeare or Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, every novelist or poetry.
Yeah, just American English literature.
American English things.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you work as now?
So I'm working for international trade for suit company. The name is the BTSC. So it's like sounds like the K-pop singer.
Yeah, the suit company is under the name BTS.
Yeah, but
which is an abbreviation.
The best stream supplier. Yeah, technically.
So you told me you were like, I'm working for BTS now. I'm like, what? So yeah, Andy is in international trade for a suit company. Maria Fair wants to know, what did he see in you, and did he already know he wanted to keep dating you after the first date?
You know, Rachel is so cute. That is the only reason.
That's not. Don't say it's the only reason. That was the first thing.
Yeah, the first thing
like you noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can judge you in the first dating, like what kind of person you are. So I can't judge you. So you are so cute. So I made decision to meet you again. So yeah. So now, yeah.
Thanks for not judging me beyond being cute on our first date. Deciding you wanted to see me again just based off of that. I don't deserve it. Again from David O'Leary, do your parents support your relationship? Yes, my parents support my relationship. Well, it's more interesting coming from you, because Korea is still so homogenous, like 96% Korean. Like, what did your parents think when you said you were dating a foreign girl or an American girl?
That's cool.
They thought it was cool?
Yeah, my mom think it's cool.
Well, your dad was excited, wasn't he? Because he deals with Americans. He's in international trade too, so he has like experience with Americans.
Yes.
So he was excited.
Yeah, he was excited.
Yeah.
And my mom is like super excited.
Your mom is so cute. From Nicole Hannah Vlogs, what would you say is the most difficult thing that you guys had to overcome with long distance? Mine is like, because I'm so like self-sufficient and like naturally kind of independent, like I take care of myself well, it's like just our everyday like being apart from each other isn't the worst for me. What's the absolute hardest thing for me is when he comes to visit and then I have to bring him back to the airport and say like goodbye to him. I just have all of these like feelings of like, not guilt, but like I know I'm sending him away to be alone and like lonely again, and I just think about like he's just gonna be like sitting in his room at night now, like not doing anything, and like that's the hardest thing for me, is like the physically saying goodbye, because I don't want him to go back to what we have to deal with every day. I feel I don't want you to go back to being lonely and alone. So that's the hardest part for me, is like the saying goodbye during visits.
Only thing I feel sad or bad is I can't touch you physically. Yeah, that's a problem. Not a problem.
But that's what makes you feel the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, not being able to physically reach out. Mike asks, how's the job search going? I've applied to some things and been told, because I can't move to Korea until at least July, because my mom planned a family vacation for the last week of June, so even though I just graduated a couple days ago, I can't leave the country until the end of June. So I've applied for things and people have been interested, but then like they don't hire me because they want someone to be able to work in May or June and they don't want to have to wait till July, which makes sense. Like I don't blame them. But job search is going just okay. Jana Okyung-soo says, you said in the previous video you wanted to live alone for a while after you moved to Korea. Is it still the same or have you changed your mind? I am still going to be living alone at least for 6 months now when I go back to Korea. Because for many reasons, like I don't want to, I've always lived with either my parents or a roommate, so I don't want to move in with you and then you feel like a roommate. Like I want it to feel like I'm moving in with my boyfriend, not I'm just jumping to the next roommate. Also, you need time, we need time to be able to find a bigger apartment for us both moving to together. Because I can't, like I'm going to be moving in with you for like a week or two right away before I find my own apartment.
Okay.
But we can't stay in your current apartment. So we also just need time to find a different place for us to move into together because we need more space than what you currently have. Sophie Shepard says, what would you say were the biggest cultural shocks, differences between Western and Korean relationships that you experienced?
You never hesitate to feel, to say what you feel.
So you're saying like Korean girls
they
won't
don't
tell
usually,
you directly.
Yeah, say they're feeling. So they like hide sometimes. Not sometimes. Usually they hide their feelings. So I can't understand. I don't know whatever they feel bad or not. But I can't understand.
I'm very direct.
Yeah. So you feel bad. You're like, why did you do that, or things like that. So
I let you know.
Yeah, I understand.
The biggest difference I noticed is that in America, there's such this strong focus on men being masculine. It's called like hyper-masculinity. And I would say like as it's so much different in Korea, like hyper-masculinity isn't on the same level as in America. Like you are much more in tune with your emotions. You're sensitive, but not in a way where like you're crying all the time. You're sensitive and you're okay with admitting that you're sensitive. And you're not so consumed with proving that you're a man all the time. That's a very good question though. Like differences, not between our cultures, but specifically Korean and American relationships. That's a very interesting question. There's an accent on the end and I'm already so sorry, but Abby Pena, I'm sorry, Abby asks, what's the main language you and Andy use to communicate with? Why did you choose to go to Korea instead of him coming to America? We communicate in 99.99% English. I was learning Korean when we met in 2016. And then I left Korea and didn't take a Korean language class until this semester, which started in 2018. So maybe there was potential for us to use more Korean with each other, but I wasn't. I was actively forgetting Korean for like a year and a half. So I've started using a little bit more. Like the other day when we were with my friends, one of my Korean friends asked you like where you were from.
Yeah.
And I was like half listening, but I actually corrected him with which province you were from.
Yeah.
Like I corrected him in Korean. So since I've started taking Korean language classes again, like I'm able to do a little bit more, but 99.99999% of our relationship and our communication happens in English. And I chose to go back to Korea because I actually just turned 22, but I am 22. I am a young adult. I absolutely loved my time in Seoul. Like I connected with it so hard. I've always known that I wanted to live outside of America. I just didn't know where outside of America I wanted to live until I went to Korea. But I want to go back and like finish living out my young adult life in Seoul, because there's just so much there. There's so much to eat and see, and there's like concept cafes. I love the cafe culture so much. I love the culture so much of Korea. You're there, and it's also so easy to travel to other places. Like we could go to Japan, we could like go to Thailand, like all these other places. I really want to live out the rest of my young adult life abroad, and then when we do want to settle down, we'll go back to America. But I want to finish having fun as a young person in Korea. And then back to ISY. after all the kid questions, what places do you want to travel to?
First option is Switzerland, and my second option might be Austria. They have so beautiful landscape.
I really want to go to Morocco. I want to see Marrakesh. I want to go to temples in Thailand. I would love to go to Paris and be a really cheesy tourist in Paris. I really want to go to Italy just because my family roots are Italian and I've never been. My mom has been back a couple times. I've never personally been to Italy, so it would mean a lot for me to go. And Greece, like Santorini, I think is the name of the city. We want to go to a lot of places. Sweet Lola says, or asks, what is one goal for both of you as a couple?
Yay.
What do you mean?
We want to have our own cafe.
Yeah, I feel like this is an announcement, but sometime in the future we want to open our own cafe together.
Yes.
Yeah. It would be a concept cafe. It would, on my end, be part plant cafe. I used to work in a garden nursery taking care of plants. I really love and connect with plants so hard. So part plant cafe.
And my plan is I want to decorate our cafe with so many toys because I'm really into figure stuff and toys.
So it'll be partly like a toy cafe. Like you'll have like your figures like hidden in little places.
Yes.
And then a plant cafe. Sam asks, do you worry that you two may get bored or fed up with each other as you live close for a long time?
I know you're a bad habit. So yeah, I don't worry about it.
We lived together for 2 weeks in 2016, and during those 2 weeks he had a taste of living with a female because you were complaining about finding my hair everywhere. But you understand that that's not me, that's just living with a female. Hello everyone! So my battery died when we were filming yesterday, so today is Saturday. I'm actually at my parents' house right now. This is my bedroom at my parents' house. But at any rate, my graduation party was today. All of my friends have left, so you can probably hear sound, music from downstairs because there's probably a lot of background noise.
Out of control.
It's not out of control. It's
they are. Yes,
they're just very excited about my graduation. So we're picking up where we left off. Not really. I think we finished answering the last question from Sam about being worried about living together, and we're not worried about bored or being frustrated. Because I said, like, you understand that living with me is living with a woman and not like the hair on the ground isn't me as a person. It's just like living with someone who has long hair. The one thing I remember saying before is that I tend to really overthink and overanalyze things, and we're both people that are comfortable being quiet, like we're comfortable in silence. And I feel like when we first move in together, maybe I'll overthink, like if we're just like existing in silence. Like I think I'll overthink it, like, oh, do we just like not have anything to say to each other right now? But I also think that's a sign of like a good relationship, is that you're able to be silent together comfortably. Because we can't be talking 100% of the time anyway. So that's my only one concern, but I am very self-aware of the fact that being comfortable when quiet together is a sign of like a healthy relationship. So moving on, a question from Matthew. Congrats for finally not having to deal with LDR anymore. Thank you. And he wanted to know if we are comfortable showing PDA, public displays of affection. Do you have an answer for that?
No, I never hesitate
Right.
to kiss you.
Yeah.
Wherever I want, I don't care.
Right. I am American. We're quite comfortable with PDA, so it's not really a problem for me. And it's much more common in Korea than Japan. Like in Japan, kissing in public is weird. Like I've heard that like holding hands is as far as many couples will go. But like you've kissed me on like subway, like escalators, like
wherever.
Yeah, like we hug each other constantly. Like if we're just standing somewhere, like waiting in line for something or like ordering food, like we'll be hugging. Like we really have no problem with PDA whatsoever.
But you know, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, that's also you as a person. You're like, who gives a fuck? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the last question. So the video being filmed from my bedroom is very short-lived, but this comes from Blair Bungie on Instagram. And she said, how does your family feel about you going to Korea? How does Andy's family feel? My mom is a very naturally anxious and concerned person. She's very, very smart and analytical. And with that, I think comes the whole overthinking issue that I have too. And she was very concerned for political reasons, which are the most obvious reasons to be concerned. But since I turned 18, it's very much been like, I am now an adult, I make my own decisions. I've always been very like independent and self-sufficient as far as like being, like, I'm 22 now, but in terms of being like a young person, I've always just kind of been comfortable doing things on my own. Like, she didn't really help me pay for study abroad. It's not that she didn't support it, it's that like, I mean, I had to, and I did. I paid for myself to go abroad. Like, I got myself to Korea. But going back to Korea, especially since when I came home, since 2016, there had been a lot of, like, missile tests. And, like, when Trump was elected, Trump and Kim Jong-un's just tweet storms to each other, and all of the weird threats and things that were said, they were giving her such strong stress and anxiety. But last semester, there was a lecture given at my university about tension. It was called Tension on the Korean Peninsula. And we had a former general of the Korean forces and a political writer who actually spent some time living in North Korea. They spoke at my university, and I attended as someone who worked for the Office of International Affairs. I was kind of working at the event, but I was able to invite my mom and grandparents to go. And since then, like, she drove me back to my apartment, and she said in the car, like, I feel much better after hearing like cold information, like stone cold information. This is how things really are. Like, you can't always believe things on the media. I think seeing and meeting people with other opinions other than mine, like adults, like professionals that have like real experience, that helped her a lot. So we had that conversation like in the car. She was like, I know you need to like be with your love. I know you need to follow your dreams. So I think as of last semester, she really has been more comfortable with it. But since like the two leaders, like North and South, like shook hands and have been like friendly lately, she's like so much better. She feels so much more comfortable. How does your family feel about me going to Korea?
My dad has no idea.
Your dad doesn't know that I'm coming back?
I mean, he doesn't care. Wherever I live, whatever I do, he just do whatever you want. He's mine, and he's like proposed like that. So.
Oh, he doesn't know. You mean like, not because you didn't tell him, just so much like he's not super obsessed with details. Yeah. He lets you be pretty independent.
He knows something, and then he doesn't know.
He doesn't
like,
need details. Yeah.
And my mom is really excited to come to Korea because we are gonna have really good experience together, like going somewhere, traveling.
And we plan on visiting her.
Yeah.
Because Andy lives in Seoul, but his mom lives in his hometown, Suncheon, which is in Cheollanam-do, which is the southern part of South Korea. So we would travel to see her.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make kimchi with her. I know, like, she doesn't do that, but, like, I really want to, like, make kimchi with your mom.
Yeah, that's our mission.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, like, on YouTube?
Yeah. Is she comfortable with that?
Yeah, of course.
Is that one of those things where she'd be like, why, and then she'll get really excited?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Everyone likes my mom, I guess.
Your mom is so cute, and she's so cheerful. Yeah. So that was the last question, so that's it for this video. I'm sorry my battery died, like, right by the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. Next time you see him, Andy, our long distance will be closed forever. We'll never need to be separated again. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.